Larry Jordan has been doing this for 20 years, setting off at dawn, while most people here in Beals Island, Maine, are still asleep. Larry Jordan's a lobsterman, just like his dad before him. Mornings like this, he's glad he is.
Well, you've been waiting long?
Yes, sir, I've been here a long while. Wait, where have you been?
Well, I just overslept a little.
Yeah, well, after this, I'll have to let you have my alarm clock. Your alarm clock ain't no good. That's all there is there. I can take it for a bit. We gotta get.
You got good in your dinner pail today.
Well, we'll wait and find out later.
That's all right.
When we get out there, we'll see what's in it, sure.
Your engine will start?
No, sure.
If you're a lobsterman, one thing you've got to rely on is a good boat and a good engine and fuel to run it. But the fuel that people like Larry depend on is itself the product of a whole chain of people.
All right, drop it in.
Grant Wicklund is an explorer.
Slow it down a bit, John.
And what he explores for is the oil under the bottom of the ocean.
Okay.
Where's the best spot to drill? That's the question men like Grant try to answer. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. Except you don't really look. You listen, with ears that are 2 miles long. They're called hydrophones, and every 7 feet in this cable there's another one. Another ear to pick up echoes from the bottom. You always have to know what spot of ocean you're over, because you're going to set off pulses, one every 10 seconds, and record the sound when it bounces back. And that's what'll tell you where the oil might be.
3 to go. 3 to go.
The whole idea is get the ship on the exact line the geologists asked for, and keep her there, and get clear recordings.
1 to go.
And if you pick up some interference, like a family of whales singing nearby, circle back and do it again.
Test pop. Here it comes. First shot point.
It's a search that never stops, in jungles, mountains, deserts, or on oil's newest frontier, the ocean. The trouble is, you're never sure you've found oil until you drill a hole and find it. In deep water, like here in the Gulf of Mexico, you use huge drilling rigs that float, with computers to keep them steady, even in rough weather. Getting to work means a long ride in a chopper or a crew boat. John Touchette is a Cajun.
Oh, my. I got a little bit more out of hole.
He used to be a fishing guide, but now he's a drilling boss, 100 miles at sea. John lives on the rig for a whole week at a time, working 12-hour shifts. It's a hard, lonely life. But the food's great, the company's good, and you've got that week off to look forward to. The work never stops on a drilling rig. 24 hours a day, you're pushing that bit down through the rock under the ocean floor. Thousands of feet down to where maybe, just maybe, you're going to hit oil. But drilling bits get dull every day or sometimes even every 8 to 10 hours. So you pull the bit up and change it.
Hard rate coming out, 10-3, viscosity 38.
The drill pipe comes up in 90-foot sections, and you stack it and stack it, thousands of feet of it. And then, when your new bit is in place, you put the pipe all back together again.
Pick up crane operator. You're live. Pick up crane operator. They have that baby, Chuck. Uh-oh. Oh, I like the sound of that. Pick up tube pusher, Doug North tube pusher. Pick up ham, Doug. Pick up clean ham, Doug.
Work on a rig is hard, and it's dangerous.
All right, Chuck, steady.
Sure, you take all the safety precautions you can. You apply all the knowledge science can give you. But when you come right down to it, drilling for oil is still a handful of men against the elements. Cy Asta is his name, and he's building the Trans-Alaska Pipeline. He and about 20,000 other people. You can find oil and bring it up, but it isn't much use unless you can take it where people need it. So you build pipelines, sometimes in impossible places like Alaska, where the oil's going to flow 800 miles, all the way from the frozen North Slope down here to the ice-free port of Valdez.
7-4 Echo Hotel, this is Wiley Field.
Roger, Wiley. 7-4 Echo, go ahead.
10-4, I've got 2 barrels of diesel down here that need to go up to Site 3.
Yeah, I'll be in about 2 minutes.
Thank you, Wiley Clear.
Cy has got to be one of the busiest chopper pilots in the world, because there are places down there where if you don't fly it in, you don't get it in. The Chugach Mountains, the Alaska Range, the Brooks Range. They're cutting the pipeline into mountainsides where no human being ever set foot before. But mountains are only one kind of problem. You've got tundras to cross, and marshes, and 34 rivers to span. Winters that last 8 months. Temperatures that fall to 70 below. Winds that'll freeze your face in seconds. It takes all kinds to build a pipeline. Pipe handlers, truck drivers, welders, men to run the bulldozers and the trenchers and the monsters that ease the pipe into the ground. Inspectors, cooks, doctors, mechanics. It's the biggest private construction job in history. And if you're working on it, Sometimes you think it's endless. Miles away, in California, stands a gleaming city of pipes and towers and tanks. It's a city with a brain, because that's what this room full of computers really is, the brain of an oil refinery. It's called the Benicia Refinery, and it's as automated as a refinery can get. But you still need people to keep an eye on things, engineers and skilled technicians like Jim Booker. When the oil first gets here, it's not much good to anybody. Not yet. You couldn't run a car with it, or heat a home, or make fertilizers and plastics, or do any of the thousands of things that depend on oil.
Dexter Booker. Go ahead, Ken. Jim, I need you to go up on T101. We've got a leak in safety up there. All right, Ken, I'm on my way to check it out.
In refineries like this, you break the crude oil down into its chemical parts by heating it in gigantic stills. Then you reshuffle the molecules in huge towers called cat crackers. You scrub out impurities. And finally, you blend the products to fit the job they're supposed to do.
Booker to Dexter. Hey, Jim. I'm on top of T101, and safety valve 106B is leaking. All the others seem to be okay. Looks like that's what's causing our reflux problem. I'm going to break the seal and block it in.
24 hours a day, crude oil is turning into gasoline, diesel, heating oil, chemicals, jet fuel. If you'd like to try one of Jim Mahoney's home-cooked meals, you'll have to ship out on a tanker. Jim is cook on the SS Houston, 70,000 tons. This trip out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and bound for Boston. You need a lot of food to make 28 men happy for the next 5 days. It takes whole fleets of tankers to keep oil flowing, to move the crude to refineries, and to move the products to where they're needed. There are 21 million gallons in her tanks, and her next stop is Boston, across 2,000 miles of ocean. But first, you have 200 miles of Mississippi to navigate, and it can be one of the trickiest rivers in the world. There's only one man who knows the river's quirks and moods, and that's the river pilot. So everybody treats him right.
Captain, would you mind taking these ashore for me?
Be happy to.
Left 5.
Left 5. Rudder left 5, sir.
We're dead slow ahead. Midship. Number 38, you got the Teresa Seeley back there. You got Number 70 on a ship that come out of Cap Line. And there's about 2 or 3 other tows.
38's back. Roger, Cap. I don't think there's anything right astern of us. The Warhorse is just above Algiers Point, all right?
Okay, Captain. Of course, the Jadwin's still working up at Belmont, and have a nice trip up.
Roger, stay. Thank you.
Halfway down the river to New Orleans, and the Gulf of Mexico is still 8 hours away. At any moment of the night or day, over 2,000 tankers are headed somewhere. Rob Zuka grew up in New York, but he came to Maine because he likes country. He's been driving a fuel truck for 3 years now, and he's seen a lot of country. Rob makes deliveries to fishing villages along one of the prettiest stretches of the whole Maine coast. Today, his last stop is Beals Island. He's delivering 2,000 gallons of marine fuel to keep the lobster boats running.
Now you bet. Just a side. Then we'll finish up.
Anita Benson runs the marina here in Beals Island.
Hit me.
You're trying to do that.
Champ.
You could catch off. You ain't.
Get in touch with me.
Come on, Marlon, let's go to
You couldn't catch her better.
You're not built right.
Nah. I told you still giving Easton, bud.
Goodbye, you just like a groundhog.
Goodbye, you're the good line.
I can tell.
Anita is the end of the line, and it's a long line, stretching back to the people who looked for the oil, and the people who drilled for it, and laid the pipe, and refined it, and transported it, and delivered it. Anita is where oil stops traveling and goes to work.
How you doing today, old boy?
Oh, doing good. How's things with you?
Well, they've been rough. That's what we did. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I want to get what I can get, Dave.
Well, you fellas are out quite late tonight, ain't you, boys?
Doggone right. We hung our way down.
In beautiful lobsters, boys. I'll
Couple
tell you
of
that.
many of them.
No, sir.
They better weigh up good now. We're going to go somewhere else tomorrow.
49 pounds, bud.
Aha. Ain't very many, but we get a little something.